From the cradle of an ancient south, a sun broke and bedded on a virgin land. Young and fertile was the land, large and empty was its breadth, accustomed to expansive vegetation, disquieted by scanty habitation, yet lit and spirited by love of evangelization. The very cause which prompted the lips of poor deceased to speak its creation to exist on the six edges of the delta, to stand along the path to the Niger river with a big heart for its earthly pasture and a sacred heart for its saintly future. A courtyard, a land, a vineyard, fertile by the sweat of Carlo Zappa, who journeyed from civilization to Ahaba, but was greeted by the hostility of the Ekumeku and the resentment of Issele-Uku. Yet he stayed. In the heat of the tension he fought. In the grievances of pro-slavers he succeeded. The very fight which preceded the future of a diocese and provided a seedbed upon which those 8 parishes sprung from the ashes of farmlands and cooking pots, carved out of the ancient city's funds with the ancestor Anthony Buji for its front, a soldier to the call, who standing tall at the sound of the call, took up the mandate of shepherding, and the zeal of that 1893 divine farmer became his inspiration. So that when it seemed as though the night would never die, he charted evangelization on a pile, grafted it through the discernment of spirit, executed in humble simplicity, that those nights may lie at the behest of execution, and the daylight justified. But at the dawn of the day, he stepped out of the way, having paved the path for another, whose duty was to make the day brighter. Emmanuel N. Ote, a son enemy of laziness, walked out of that commercial city's gate into the north of the big heart, and with an ambience of compassion, sowed the seeds of growth, diversity, and expansion. A man with a large heart, simple in approach, but unapologetic in reproach. He taught the faith with passion, pacing into the future with dexterity, yet leaving no room for austerity. Such the life he led with caution, and died fulfilled an oration. Then his retirement before his death saw a son, of whom was known to the soil and the sun, Michael Odogu Elue. From the seedbed of mission's milieu, mounted the shepherd's purview, staring steadily within the Kaha's purview, into a techno-scientific purlieu, a friend of humility, a companion of tranquility, an associate of peace and harmony, an academial of noble temerity. Embracing the sin at the 2004th mile, he pitched collegiality to the Nile, with a compassion beyond the Nile, listening to every laughter and sigh, every tear that lifts the eye, each one that drops on the tile, to water the crops which on this ground lie, that our vegetation may not die. Today this scanty vegetation blooms with healthy habitation. Upon the almanac of its memorial we enact the fruits of the testament, the celebration of the age-long 50th. In antiquity, old, we laud its newness. In our time, who now have besought fruitfulness, we echo the fortune of blessedness. For us and to our heroes fallen through the cross, since we know that grace alone accounted for us, we will keep them in mind, and in our prayers, Lord, pray for us. That they may with the saints praise you, the God who bequeaths life like a dew, even when we failed to kneel on these pews. Therefore, today our voices shall travel to the heavens in thanksgiving, for above the difficulties of the past it has travailed, and the songs which from our lips exhume is of the living. So let us live always to rejoice, for it is indeed the best of choice that we echo the sounds of jubilation on these days when we libate our jubilee at the foot of the Pentecost Tree.